Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank, with 31 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. It was a quiet weekend locally. The closest game that meant anything was in Oxford, Mississippi. And did it ever go down like the Titanic if you were an LSU fan watching the Tigers fall to Ole Miss, a team that had struggled in recent weeks. But they didn't struggle on this night despite the fact that they were missing many significant defensive players. Lenny, this was an LSU team that wasn't ready to play, didn't play, and afterwards Les Miles said as much and took the blame.
You know, I didn't want to be right on this one, but I said last week this had all the makings of a trap game. This was LSU's fifth SEC game in 5 weeks. You heard all the things about all of the, significant players being out for Ole Miss, and a lot of people talking about that LSU could just roll in this game. But the fact of the matter is, this was still an Ole Miss team that came into the season, or early in the season, was a top 25 team. They went to Texas and won. That's a Texas team that's leading the Big 12 right now. This is not a bad football team that beat LSU. Are they beat up a little bit? Absolutely, but LSU's defense could not get off the field. Ole Miss's offense was out there for close to 90 plays in that game, and that game-winning drive was really just a small snippet of what LSU had to deal with on this night, giving up more than 500 yards.
As bad as they were, LSU offensively, with the bad interceptions that Mettenberger threw, they had enough offensively to come back and get to even in that game. They just could not get off the field on third down, or really at all, giving up over 500 yards.
Yeah, a tough night, and we've seen a little bit of this before, maybe not in this fashion with Ole Miss running the ball as much as they did for the tune of about 200 yards, and Wallace was terrific. I mean, he was 30 of 39 passing plus a threat running the football, a dual threat out there, and that's that whole combination of factors out there, just tough to overcome. And now LSU's got to go back and get ready for homecoming against Furman. Should be a win, and then they've got a week off, and then of course the big one against Alabama 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, which basically is what they're shooting for now, because the other goals are gone. They will not make a BCS bowl game. They will not play for the SEC championship, barring a miracle, because Alabama's not going to lose twice.
No, I wouldn't rule out the BCS. If they do run the table and they get to 10-2, they're not going to play for the SEC title, but they're sitting there at 13 in the first BCS standings. If they run the table, it would include wins over Alabama and A&M. While that will be a challenge, they'll be back at 6 or 7, and I can, if Alabama's sitting there undefeated and going to the championship game, you got to believe the folks at the Sugar Bowl will be tapping the folks in Baton Rouge on the shoulder to make the trip down here. So while, believe me, based on what we saw Saturday, I think it's a long shot to expect LSU to win each of their last 5 games. If it were to happen, then who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. It was an off week for Tulane. They've got Tulsa this Saturday, a team that they traditionally have gotten drummed by. But this is not anywhere near as good of a Tulsa team as we've seen in recent years. It's another big game for the Green Wave.
Yeah, and this is not anywhere near the Tulane team we've seen in recent years, to the positive side as well. So it's going to be an emotional week. Obviously, the chance to get the 6 wins and firm up bowl eligibility, to remain undefeated in the conference. And don't let the fact get lost on you what happened in Tulsa a year ago with the Devin Walker situation. We talked about that a little bit more on the 1-year anniversary. That's going to come up again this week. Walker has been an inspiration to this team, has been there for them all year long, on the sidelines, every game. He's been the one giving those pep talks in the locker room before the game. He's going to have something inspiring to say before this game.
Well, he certainly will, and we'll see if Tulane can get there, because if they get it, that's 6 wins. You know what that means.
That means we'll see you in December. And who knows, may keep rolling here, and may even see Tulane in the Conference USA Championship game in December before that. So
all quiet on the Southern Front where the Saints are concerned. Coming off of a bye week, everybody went home basically. Now they're coming back and reconvening. And, of course, Buffalo this Sunday. Buffalo with a big win in Miami. They'll come in with a pretty good defense, and they'll be a tough get for the Saints. That said, a week off should have been able to heal some people. We'll never know about injuries until they have to put out an injury report.
Right, on Wednesday. Now, one thing with Sean Payton is he learned and talked to a lot of people, most notably Andy Reid, and how to manage the bye week. And, of course, now a lot of things are legislated in the CBA, but basically he's gone to giving his team the entire week off. And his teams, last year, of course, was not technically his team, but since he made these changes in 2009, the Saints have won 4 straight games in very impressive fashion, coming off the bye, very impressive offensive fashion, averaging over 40 points a game in those games. So let's see if a refreshed group of players comes out and makes a good effort on Sunday.
Well, you give them time to prepare, and that typically has been the mantra. For those that do a good job, give them more time, and they'll be more successful. We'll see how that works out. Of course, the Pelicans continuing their preseason jaunt, getting closer to the regular season, still haven't lost a game.
No, still haven't lost a game. Finally, a home game coming up Wednesday night against the defending NBA champions, the Miami Heat. First chance for the folks in New Orleans to get to see the Pelicans play. And I would anticipate with LeBron and company coming to town, it'll be a pretty good crowd to check that out, if not a sellout. And, of course, the regular season opens a week from Wednesday.
Yeah, I look forward to all of that, of course. And high school football coming up Friday night again. And, of course, we had 2 big games this past weekend with our first NBC Prep Showcase.
Yeah, it was terrific football. I tell you, it's, as you and I are both Catholic League alumni, it's good to see the Catholic League back together. But these games have been, almost without exception, extraordinary football games in the early season. And even if you think one team is significantly better than another team, it hasn't necessarily turned out that way when you look at the final score. And we had 2 very compelling games this past weekend, Holy Cross Brother Martin and St. Augustine and Archbishop Rummel. We'll take a week off from the first NBC Prep Showcase this week. We'll come back with our final game a week from Friday, Jesuit and Brother Martin.
And look forward to that. And, of course, watch Sports Nola TV Monday night, 6 p.m., WHNO Channel 20. Ricky Jackson, Torrance Small, Brian, Allie Walsh, and yours truly. Lenny, it's always a pleasure. Have a great week.
We'll see you later this week.
That's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank, with 31 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank. For Lenny, I'm Kenny. Have a great week, and God bless.